Okay, well, welcome to Reprogramming Your Chakras for Turbulent Times. I'm really excited that you're joining us. So over these 4 days, we're going to be doing a lot of really powerful energy work. Today, we'll be doing some basic things to clear blocks and resistance to reprogramming and activating your chakras to be able to thrive in turbulent times. And we'll be working with some of the lower chakras. Then over the next few days, we'll be working on different parts of the chakra system. We'll be working with at least 12 chakras, probably a lot more than that. So we have a lot to do. If you please just say hi and put where you're joining us from in the chat. That's always kind of interesting to know where everybody's joining us from. Take a couple easy deep breaths. We have a lot to do today. And let me put the frame around this before we start doing the energy work. A few years ago, pre-COVID, I used to be amazed at how many people acted like life was such a burden and how horrible and difficult it was. And I would talk to people about how so many things in the world were better. And there was just sort of a lack of appreciation for how great a lot of things are. Well, the last few years, I don't say that anymore. Not that these are historically more challenging than a lot of times in history and less challenging than many times in history. But things, as you all know, have gotten harder and much more challenging. There's economic ripples moving through the world and nobody's sure what's going to happen. There's the war in Ukraine. There's plenty of wars going on. There's a lot of dire situations in Africa, from wars, from starvation, from climate change. The whole employment picture may be changing. It was getting better and better. That may be changing. We have inflation. We have on and on and on and on. And again, if you look historically, many times have been a lot worse than this. But these are really challenging times. And I believe, I don't know if you believe, that this is part of a great transformation going on in the human consciousness. And it's very common when these great transformations go on for things to get worse before they get better. It's called healing crises. Then it is a healing, it's a positive transformation, but it can be very difficult and disturbing. It's a lot like when somebody is sick and gets a fever. A fever is part of the cure. A fever kills bacteria, and at the same time, the fever can kill you. So a healing crisis is like that. It can seem really difficult, and it can be really difficult. And even though it's heading someplace really positive, how do we thrive during these turbulent times? And this is really important, not just for you, but it's important for the whole world. The kind of people that are attracted to a program like this and are attracted to energetic NLP are people that want to make their lives better, but they also want to make the world a better place for all of us. And the world needs people like us to step it up, to go to higher vibrations, to clear some of the old blocks and limitations, to manifest more of the vast spiritual being that we are into this human life. Because every person who does that is helping to grow, evolve, and change the whole collective consciousness of humanity. So whether you realize the things you're doing in the world are important or not, they are really important. On the inner level, there are billions of people who want people like us to do this work, to keep evolving and opening it, because everyone who does that makes it easier for the people behind them. So we're going through paths that other people have created, and then we're widening them, we're making them different, we're adding new paths. Other people will be following us. It's a lot like if you've ever walked in deep snow. The first person, it's pretty hard. It might be fun, but it's pretty hard. The second person, it's easier. By the 10th person, you're starting to have a path through the snow. And we're all creating a path through spirituality, personal transformation, and consciousness. So I do want you to know that you're a very important part of this, which is why I'm doing this program. Now, part of the problem is it's not just that the world is changing at this astounding rate, and it's going to only get faster. Technology is not going to slow down. All the social trends are not going to slow down. We have to have the ability to adapt, to move, to take ourselves through these experiences in such a way that we thrive. And believe me, there are a lot of people thriving incredibly well right now, incredibly well. So, and I want you to be one of them. And you can't do that if your chakras are being run by programming that came from your childhood, that came from past lives, that came from your ancestors, that came from your parents, that came from society. We really are in a new age. This is really a new time. And we have to be able to let go of the old programming, not because it's bad or wrong, but it doesn't fit anymore. It just doesn't fit anymore. And it's causing us to constrict, to have more problems than we need to have. When you reprogram, reactivate your chakras, then all kinds of things open up. And I'm not saying that you don't have any challenges. That's not a human life. Maybe for a couple of human beings on the planet, but challenges are part of the human condition. But there's something the Dalai Lama refers to as natural suffering and what he calls unnatural suffering. And natural suffering is we're in bodies, the people we love are in bodies, things happen. You know, we're in a physical, we're here as physical beings in a physical world. There are challenges, things happen, that's part of life. But a lot of the suffering that people have is what he would call unnatural suffering. And what that means is it's being created by your karma, by your spiritual contracts. It's being created by unconscious programming, limiting beliefs that are both conscious and unconscious. So over these 4 days, we're going to do a lot of clearing out of old beliefs, old programming, old concepts, and then you'll allow your own spirit and your own inner wisdom to reprogram it. So you don't have to think hard. We call these energetic NLP energy spas. And the reason we call them that is because it's a lot like going to a spa. If you want to get a massage, all you have to do is set your intention and give permission and pay. Set your intention, give permission. And then if you pick the right masseur, they do the magic. And your job is to relax and let it happen. In the same way, your conscious mind in these 4 days is going to set your intentions, give permission. You're going to very quickly here be learning how to put your spirit and your deep inner wisdom in charge. And this is really, really, really important. I'm a great fan of the conscious mind. I love my conscious mind. I love your conscious mind. I'm actually a very logical person. I managed a research lab for the University of California Medical School in San Francisco for 11 years. You know, I always loved science since I was a little kid. And I love logic. But even when I was a little kid, I knew there was something beyond logic. There was something mystical. There were things like telepathy and ESP, but there were all these powers of the unconscious mind. And I didn't know how to activate them, though I started learning, but I didn't know how to activate them, but I knew they were there. I just knew it. And in energetic NLP, some of what we do, which is why I'm talking right now, is for your conscious mind is very logical. But if you keep your conscious mind in charge of this reprogramming, you're going to get this much out of these 4 days. Your conscious mind is only as good as the data that it has. Your chakra system is way more complicated than most people explain it. First of all, you don't have 7 chakras, you have a lot more than 7. And people debate how many. Some people say you have 15, some people say you have 144, some people think all the acupuncture points are little chakras. And we don't have to figure all that out. But the thing is, there are more than 7 of them, and they're not all in your body. Some very, very, very important ones are in your energy field above your head. Some very important ones are in your energy field below your feet. And what we're doing over these 4 days, this is not a class. This is not learn about the chakras. Your chakra looks like this, it's this color. There's, you know, you can go on YouTube and get a ton of information on that. And a lot of it's very valuable. The problem with approaching it that way, there's a lot of advantages to approaching it that way that I honor, but there are problems too. And the problems come from the fact that our chakras don't fit those neat little systems. When I look at somebody's chakras, they're multidimensional, they're complex, they're dynamic. They don't look like the pictures that I see of them. Now, your conscious mind can't process what I think is the reality of your chakras and your whole energy system, because it's multidimensional, because it's complex, because it's moving, it's dynamic, because everything's affecting everything, because it's one system. So in energetic NLP, sometimes we get in and we're being very logical about it, but most of the time we do the opposite. Again, you set your intention, you give permission, and then you let your spirit and your inner wisdom take charge of what happens. So my job is to get the energy flowing. Your spirit and your inner wisdom will decide what to do with it. Your spirit and your deep inner human wisdom know everything about your chakras. They know everything about your energy system. They don't need your conscious mind to micromanage it. They do need your conscious mind to set intentions and give permission, because that's part of the function of your conscious mind. But how it happens is something that you need to leave to your spirit and inner wisdom. Most of the things you do in life, you couldn't do if you were thinking about it. I was in a program once, and they had us get on our hands and knees and walk across the room. And then they had us do it again, only this time they gave us instructions about how to do it, and everybody had trouble doing it. And the instructions they gave us was exactly the way people walk on their hands and knees. They were telling us to do exactly what we'd already done, but because we were thinking of it consciously, we were getting confused, where our unconscious minds knew how to do it and learned how to do it a long time ago. So that's a physical analogy to what we're talking about here. So again, your conscious mind sets intentions, give permissions. So the outcome of these 4 days, again, is that you thrive in turbulent times, that you're happier, that you're more successful, that you're healthier, more vital, that you have more love in your life, and that you're making a very positive difference in the world just by the changes you're making in your own energy system. Because as I said before, every person who does it makes it easier for other people to do it. And on an inner level, people notice, and they may or may not follow your example, but on an inner level, they notice it. And again, I want to say it's an honor to be with all of you, because the kind of people that are attracted to this kind of work are people that want to improve their own lives, the lives of people that they care about, and to make the world a better place for all of us.